We're going to build the best football team in the SEC Conference. We're going to build the best football program in the SEC Conference.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
The kick, it's been blocked again! How about it? It's been blocked again! It's going to heat one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyreek Cleveland! How about it? I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw, pops and fires the ball over the middle. It's Dory! It's Dory! Got a touchdown! Dory got a touchdown! Oh man! Dory's got a touchdown!
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out the winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium Miguel. It's your favorite Uncle Silk.
It's Dan.
And Del Torre.
Same corner, same time. Welcome back, fellas. How y'all feeling?
Nick, I'll let you start, buddy.
Good. Long week. Silk, told you 5-0. The Gator baseball team went 5-0. You know, there's no cheering in the press box, but I think I walked in there Sunday and I was cheering for me.
Right.
Cheering for my prediction. So
Nick's had a lot of predictions on this podcast that have been.
I mean, so many of them have been right. I mean,
It's
just
like 1 for 40.
Just a stellar track record of making bold predictions. So yeah, that was my weekend spent at Florida Ballpark. This coming weekend will be spent down in Coral Gables at Mark Light Field at Alex Rodriguez Park. So this segment will be
They're pulling up
this
Thursday,
segment.
right?
I gotta figure that out because I'm driving up to Jacksonville tomorrow. Driving up to Jacksonville Tuesday for the UNF game. Talk about low budget productions. I think they put a kid holding an iPhone up there to stream the game.
What, in Jacksonville?
So I learned my lesson last year. You couldn't see the foul poles, so I'm like, you know what? It's an hour and a half drive. I'll drive up and I'll see the foul poles in person. But yeah, I will basically be this segment for me will be I was at the park all weekend.
I love that for you. I hope you get a milkshake. I hope you're able to catch some good baseball, and who knows, maybe you'll call another 5-0 this weekend or this week.
I don't know if we're gonna call 5-0 this week.
But the Gators did climb. We'll talk a little bit more about baseball, but they climb up one spot in the rankings up to 14.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Dan, I
thought Nick was going to respond. That's his segment. He's just sneezing away.
I'm staying here. So I'm staying. We have like a cold front coming through, so allergies are kicking back up. Gainesville can't figure out what the weather is going to be.
That's what they call it these days. So allergies.
Yeah. Immune system Twitter gonna clean all that up. Because something didn't sound right about the cold weather and your allergies. So I'm pretty sure immune system Twitter will clean that up for us.
No, that was last week. That was last week's show after the wedding bender. And it's funny that Dan just spent a weekend in Nashville and he's over here throwing stones in his glass house.
Man, let me tell you what. Speaking of cold weather, boys,
it looked like the vibes out there. I was peeping in on your IG story, Dan. It looked like the vibes, man. I ain't gonna lie.
So just to kind of set the scenery, flew up to Nashville. The Lightning played the Predators in an outdoor hockey game, and the NHL's been doing these for the past, I think, probably 4 or 5 years. This is the first time the Lightning have played, and you know how much I love Nashville. You know how much I love the Lightning. So you put the two and two together, and it was just it was a trip made for me. So got up there Thursday, met up with a good buddy of mine, but that's when the drinks started flowing. Silk, and I don't think that they stopped until well after 1 a.m. on Saturday morning, or pardon me, Sunday morning after the game. But let me tell you what, that was one of the coolest things. What Nashville's really cool because they have the hockey rink at the top of downtown of Lower Broadway, and then at the bottom they have a river, and then right over that river is the football stadium where the game was at. So all of Broadway was covered with 60,000+ people ready to drink and watch this outdoor hockey game. I think they had 68,000 people there. One of the coolest events that I've ever been at. I was talking to Nick right before the show started. I think outside of of watching the Stanley Cup last year, the Lightning win the Stanley Cup. This is probably the coolest sports experience that I've had. They just had great music, great vibes. The weather was a little chilly. It was about 25, 28 degrees during the game. So next time I go to a game like this, I got to prepare a little bit better, bring some gloves or bring some hand warmers. But, man, I give a quick shout out to Nashville. They did a great time. Tampa showed up heavy. Of that 28 or 68,000, probably 25,000 were Lightning fans. So super cool experience. But as always, shout out to Tennessee, Mike. Shout out to Nashville, and for the rest of the folks in Nashville for always having a great time and a great event.
Shout out to Nashville. I'm looking at that ambiance that was set, and then you were describing it, and then I'm remembering that you told me that the Kush was free.
The
Kush is legal out there, so I was like, oof.
The Kush is legal. They've got Delta 8, Delta 9, and Delta 10. Never heard of Delta 10, but now they're selling it kind of street vendors. You can walk up, you can buy whatever you want. If that's your move, if alcohol is your vice of choice, beer, liquor, everything's flowing heavy over there. Yeah, but I texted Silk after 1 or 10 drinks that Friday night when we were at Legends. I'm like, dude, we got to do this. And then the stage later that night, and Silk and I think decided that that's what we're going to make our Stadium and Gale trip this year. Nick, 100%. You'll obviously already be in town, so we've got to make a big event out of it.
Stadium and Gale on the road.
Not the same corner, but the same time, right? Different corner, different time.
Different corner, different time. Silk's going to have a cowboy hat, maybe a dip in.
We got a lot of Tennessee listeners, man. I know y'all boys ready to pull up. Shout out to Dustin and Tennessee Mike and all those guys out there. Blake. We got a lot of Tennessee listeners, so y'all pull up for the Bandy game. We hanging out.
Yeah, no, it was an awesome event. It'll be cold. It'll be in November, so be on the lookout for some details about that. We'll get into planning some of that here in the next couple of weeks and couple of months. But we'll do a tailgate. Tickets to the game are going to probably set you back about $3. So that shouldn't be an issue. But we're going to have ourselves a time on Broadway and in Midtown, and then certainly at the game. But also want to give a shout out to the Gator Collective. They invited me up to an event that they had at the indoor practice facility. So yesterday, flew back in the morning, hopped right in the car, drove up to Gainesville. Shout out to Shannon Snell. He cooked some relationship ribs for the offensive linemen. There's about 13 of them that came out, and they hosted an event with about 100 people. So really cool event. The guys, all of them did a great job of interacting with the fans. That was really neat. But shout out to Josh Braun. I think we've got a career in politics ahead for him. Talking about work in a room. I think he talked to every single person that was there, signed every autograph that anybody could ever want, but really cool event. But one of the things that I was telling Nick yesterday when we chatted after, Cam Waits, the transfer from Louisiana, is probably the largest human being that I've ever seen play football in my life. So I'm about 5'11", not a skinny fella, and I looked like a midget compared to him. Exceptionally nice dude, but that is one big dude. So you say 6'8", and he's every bit of it. So
that I remember that people forget how big these dudes are. Someone took a picture of me. It must have been Felipe's sophomore year. We were interviewing him, and someone was like, "Nick, what are you 5'5"?" And I'm like, "He's 6'6", dude. Did you forget that he's not a normal sized person?" So when you get around these guys, and it's probably something that we take for granted because we're around them so much, these are large human beings. And Cameron Waits makes those large. Yeah, he makes those guys look small.
Yeah, I told when me and my wife went to the what was it, Friday Night Lights, and she seen Gravon. She's like, "That's a high school kid." Yeah, baby, that's a high school kid.
Yeah, no. Right when I got there, Osiris Torrance and Cam Waits had just walked in too, and Osiris Torrance, obviously, kind of your all-conference player. Everybody's super excited about him, but even he looks small compared to him. Obviously, he's built, he's strong, but Cameron Waits, man, I'll tell you what, he's a beast of a human. But shout out to everybody on the offensive line, just incredibly nice people. Shout out to the Gator Collective for putting that event on, and I think they had about 90 or 100 people there. So overall, great event for them. But I was ready to come home. I think when I was right about to leave, Jen's like, "You look tired." I'm like, "Yeah, I've had myself a weekend." So, but without further ado, we do have former Gator baseball player and current Major League Baseball player with the Toronto Blue Jays, Kirby Snead joining us. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friend Alan Horn, who's a former Gator baseball player himself with State Farm in Jasper, Georgia. So if you are looking for auto, home, renters, life, business insurance, boaters insurance, retirement planning in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, or Tennessee, give him a call at 706-692-2888 or visit him at Alan Horn Insurance. That's ALANHORNE insurance.com, and he will get you a quote and have all of your questions answered. So again, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama, Alan Horn Insurance. Let's get Kirby onto the show. Nick, you're a resident baseball guy. Why don't you do a quick introduction for our man here?
This is the reason for all the Kirby gifs, which ended up lasting like 8 years because Kirby McMullen came right when Kirby left. Kirby Snead from Alachua, played at Alachua, did not go very far for college, and then went very far for professional baseball. Welcome to the show, and I will tell you, I think this is the first former Florida baseball player we've had. Which is a surprise since I've been on the show for almost a year.
Yeah, the first under your
we had Colby Halter.
Well, and we had Matt Dendecker too, but we'll
that was
the past in the past. Yep.
Kirby, they're gonna do this a lot this show. Don't pay them.
It's all good.
You're ruining your intro. I'm trying to say Kirby's the
good.
first, and you're talking about Dendecker. I didn't interview him.
That's a good point. Ancient history.
No, appreciate you guys having me.
It's unfortunate that we have Kirby here tonight because that means Major League Baseball is still, kicking the bucket around, not figuring things out, ruining the game. But I'm sure Kirby's hanging around, and I'm sure you're working out with the guys, and I've seen you around the park a lot. How's it been to be back around? I guess it's not your stadium, but be back around Florida Ballpark and around the guys.
Yeah, so I wasn't really able to get over there last year. This last Friday, the home opener was my first time seeing the park, and then I came this last Friday to kind of just check out the facility, see the indoor, the inside of all of it, and it's just awesome to see. It's well overdue, but it's just cool to see. Always good to be back. It brings a lot of memories, and obviously it feels like yesterday I was just there, so it's just cool to see.
Any jealousy?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Especially when I went in there and saw the inside, man, it's nuts.
The whole pitching lab and all that.
Yeah. It's really cool to see for sure.
You've been around some minor league parks. Where does that stack up? Florida Ballpark. I mean, you've been all over in Dunedin
and where? Dunedin, Nick. Come on.
Same thing. You say Dunedin, I say Dunedin.
You're wrong, but okay.
No, it's
potato.
Man, it's up there for sure. It's up there. Especially just like the locker room and the facility, the hitting, obviously the pitching stuff that they have now. I think the game's changed so much since I've been in college, so it's just cool to see that they're keeping up with the times, and obviously, just from watching the last 2 weeks, man, we got a pretty good team. So I think they're destined for a big year. So I'm just hopefully going to root them on to Omaha and another national championship. So
I love it. Kirby, I want to go back. Obviously born and raised in Alachua, a lot of kids play baseball, but very few are able to make it to even play college baseball, let alone play Major League Baseball. When did you know that you had a potential career in baseball?
So I always tell it, like when I was getting recruited by Florida, I could have gone to other schools. I could have, even looked at other schools, but I just knew I wanted to be a Gator. I didn't care how it was. I didn't care if I played one game in a year or I pitched in every game. I just wanted to be a Gator and get a degree from Florida. So I would say around my junior year, I had a couple good years, freshman, sophomore year, and junior year. When I got drafted, I had obviously a passion for baseball and wanted to work my way up. But I would say when I got into AA and started having success there against, some of the team's top prospects from, each team. And I think when I started having success there in 2018 is when I really, started focusing more and just really tried to get better every day. And obviously this last year I was able to break through, and just thankful for all the lessons I've learned along the way for sure.
Kirby, who'd you grow up watching and liking as a kid?
I liked the Red Sox growing up, so I was a huge John Lester fan. I loved Pedro Martinez, Kurt Schilling, just all those Red Sox guys. And there was also the only other guy to make it to the big leagues from Santa Fe High School is Lenny DiNardo. He's an old lefty reliever, played at Stetson, and so I just loved the Red Sox growing up. So those guys were always tuned in for those games for sure.
You got a connection back to Boston, or just a Red Sox fan? And
just random, man. I just really liked watching them when they came back against the Yankees in 2004. It's kind of when I really started honing in. They won 2007, and my freshman year of college, they won the World Series too. So it was cool to watch them then. So yeah, I've just been a fan. Obviously, I'm a diehard Blue Jays now, but but yeah, that was my team growing up.
A lot of love for a division rival there, Kirby.
Yeah, no.
Were you always a pitcher, or did you just kind of land on pitching later in your career, or later in middle school?
Yeah, I always was a pitcher. From about 14 years old is when I really knew that I was just going to be a pitcher. I hit in high school, but I never took it serious as pitching, and I just liked it more. I like to be in control of the game. I think just having that as a reliever too. I've always pretty much been a reliever since college, and then obviously through pro ball. So I just like coming into tough situations and just trying to get out of it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just love to compete.
Now, Corey has a young son, and probably when Harlan was 3 years old, I told him, I was like, hey, don't let him pick up anything with his right hand. So he doesn't need to play football. He doesn't need to get hurt. I said,
hey, Kirby,
if you need to,
I was
like, if you need to, strap his right arm down with a belt, like tie it to his side, and just like get him thrown with that left hand. I was like, that's the key. I was like, that's your 401k. Yeah. That's your retirement.
No, that's
plan.
my divorce. That's what that is. My wife come home and see her 3-year-old son with a hand tied behind his
back. hey, lefties are very valuable. So I was just looking out for your future.
I just convinced her that this podcast thing was a good idea, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Kirby, real quick, what you was talking about, like the pressure and pitching. What's it like being on the mound, or what's your process like mentally when you're on the mound, bases loaded, whatever the pitch count is, and it's all on you? What's your mindset like in that circumstance?
Yeah. So one of the things I tell everyone, just for me and the way I've had success is I just try to take everything a day at a time, and just even break it down even more. When I get in the game, it's one pitch at a time. There's really nothing in the moment that I can handle except for just this one pitch that I have. Okay. And then after that, it's like, okay, well, here's the next pitch, and it's just, baseball is obviously a physical game, but there's so much of the mental side to it that it just if you're not in tune with the game and the situation, it can kind of speed up on you. So my thing is I just try to slow it down as much as I can. And, for example, this year in my debut, I literally just said, you know what, I'm just going to throw strike one, throw strike two, and then whatever happens. So that's pretty much it. I just try to slow it down as much as I can, take it a day at a time. Whatever each day brings, I just try to get the best out of it. And then hopefully at the end of the season, when all those days add up, I, help the team win.
I like all that talk, Kirby.
I think professional athletes or high-level athletes are able to compartmentalize. And you talk about it a lot in baseball. Yeah. Like a closer needs to have a short memory. But compartmentalize, got into a fight with my girlfriend on the way to the park. Can't let that affect me when I get my call and up in the bullpen. So I think that's probably something that doesn't get talked about enough, is that they're just able to stay in that moment of literally just what do I need to do to execute right now?
Yeah.
I want to take you back. I got a couple questions. I want to take you back. What is Sully like? It probably differs from player to player, but what is your relationship with Sully, and what was it like?
Yeah,
he's pretty demanding.
Yeah. So I would just say, being a local kid, I think he kind of, he knew that I knew what to expect, So when I got into school, I was fortunate enough to where I got a lot of opportunities freshman year, so my freshman fall was tough, man. It was a big difference, coming from a small town and things are just kind of slow. And then you get to UF and it's just like 100 miles an hour all the time, with, tutoring and workouts and, obviously trying to compete for a spot. My freshman year, we had the #1 recruiting class coming in. So we had a ton of talent. And so I think that's kind of where I learned that taking it a day at a time. I think I tried to speed things up and I was trying to be too perfect. And it kind of, that relationship with Sully kind of, it teetered a little bit, but, I was just thankful for the experiences that he gave me. Obviously he gave me a chance to play at my dream school. So there's always that aspect of it. But, he was tough, no doubt, on all of us. But, at the end of the day, I fulfilled a lifelong dream, and he was a good stepping stone for me in that process and taught me a lot about myself along the way. That's for sure.
I think you were on the team. There was one day, it must have been during spring practice, because I probably went from like spring football to a baseball game.
Yeah.
And Bader was hitting in the cage, in the turtle, and Sully's yelling at him like while Bader's taking swings, and Bader's yelling back at him. And I think this is Harrison's junior year. He's hitting third. He's probably hitting 350 at the time. And they're arguing before the game. And all I hear is Bader go, "Well, take me out of the lineup then." And that was it. And I was like, well, you're certainly not taking him out of the lineup. That's how you win an argument right there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think Sully kind of, I wouldn't say he encouraged that, but it was almost as if like he wanted to see a little fight in you. It's like, I think that's the make of a team right there. When times are tough and you're not, you don't agree on things, you still got to persevere and get through all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, there was a lot of hard days at Florida for all of us, for sure. Just trying to handle life and baseball. But I mean, it was the time of my life, and I'll have memories and relationships that I'll forever have. So
the question I have to ask, you mentioned your recruiting class. And Dan, I'm going to need about 8 minutes to run through this 2016 team. Just big leaguers: Kirby, yourself, Dane Dunning, AJ Puck, Jackson Coer, Alex Faedo, Logan Shore, Sean Anderson, Michael Byrne, Pete Alonso, Jonathan India, JJ Schwartz, Buddy Reed, Nick Horvath, Nelson Maldonado, Scott Moss, Mike Rivera, Dalton Guthrie. I told Sully the 2017 team he brought to Omaha was probably the worst team he'd ever brought. And the best team was probably that 2016 team, your junior year. So for the baseball fans listening, what the heck happened in 2016
Yeah. Yeah, man, it was it's so funny you say that, because it was in the 2017 team. I remember my first year of pro ball watching that team. I was like, man, like these guys they're in for a rough season. And then they won the SEC and they make it to Omaha, and I'm like, dang, these guys are gonna win it all, And I think I can't really point my finger to one thing about my junior year. It was just, I think the year just went by so fast that when we got to Omaha, it just kind of like, I don't know, man. It just was like a different vibe than the whole season had been, all of us. Was it any
like you guys were number one all year, and you guys had like a bullseye on your back the whole year? Was it like mounting pressure at all?
Yeah, I would say that, and just a lot of, man, it's just hard. It still bothers me to this day that team wasn't the first one to do it. I think that's. I mean, I can say that baseball is such a weird game that when we got to Omaha and we faced Coastal Carolina, who ended up winning it, they didn't have anybody on that field that could compete with us. Like and that's no knock to them at all. But like just the team that we had, there was no reason that they should even be on the same field. And then they go in the first inning and score like 4 runs. And I think it just deflated us like so much. And from that first inning on until the final out of the next game against Texas Tech, like we just like had no idea what was going on. It was almost as if like we had no idea what to do. We couldn't catch any breaks, and it's just the way that the ball bounces sometimes. And obviously looking back now, you know, it was cool, you know, 2 years in a row Omaha, but there's still that little piece of me that's like, you know, we definitely should have finished it off for sure.
Could have come back for that senior year though, Kirby.
I know. That's another thing that bothers me to this day. Me and Ryan Larson are still close, and he was one of the ones that stayed his senior year. So he always, you know, has that little thing of, well, I stayed and I got one, and you guys are all, you know, it's funny, but yeah.
Kirby, I've got a question. Sorry for Nick bringing up open wounds here on this show.
I was talking to Brady and Logan at the same time, and I brought it up. I was like, Logan, your team, your junior year was so much better than Brady's sophomore year. He goes, it doesn't matter because they won the championship. I'm like, but it's not even close.
Yeah,
but it's not even close.
I know it's not. It's really, yeah.
So Kirby, I want to talk about the major league draft. So you get drafted after your junior year in the 10th round. What were you? I'm not asking for a dollar amount, but what were you looking to hear? Because you did have the opportunity to go back and play your senior year if you wanted. But what was your mindset? When you did get drafted, and how'd you ultimately land on a decision to go early?
Yeah. So my thing was if I just went, I figured obviously I wasn't in the picture to get drafted super high, so there was that little thing in the back of my head that I can come back, finish my degree and play for another good team. And when draft day came around, I told all the scouts, if I get drafted top 10 rounds, I'm going to go and that'll be that. And 10th round rolls around and I'm like, well, I kind of was thinking, I guess I'm going to stay for school. And then the Blue Jays called, and yeah, it was just a good day, man. I mean, it was, like I said earlier, going into Florida, man, I just really wanted to play for a good team and get a degree and then figure it out from there, and then when I started having success and realized that I could compete with SEC talent, that's when I really started, focusing on pro ball. So I think that day just solidified all the work that I had put in and just, just how much that the UF had helped me achieve my dream.
No doubt.
Go ahead, Sully.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Nick.
What the draft is weird, and then you're coming from a school like Florida, and I mean I know there's like some bus trips, but you guys are flying a little bit. What's minor league baseball like when you're going from like small town to small town and you're playing 7 games a week, and then you're just like rolling into town at 4 a.m. and you're like, all right, we got to be at the park.
That was my question. That's perfect. See that?
Yeah, no, it's
like, is that a culture shock? Like you're almost like hampered at a school like Florida, and then all of a sudden, not even AAA. They got some money up there. They got money up there. So we're talking. We're talking rookie ball, single A.
Right.
Yeah,
Tebow.
No, it's tough. Yeah, I played against Tebow.
You got some heat.
Yeah, I actually struck him out, so that was kind of cool.
Let's go, Kirby.
Very good.
Yeah. So side note from that, like being from Alachua, man, I grew up a massive Gator football fan. Like I've probably missed 2 home games since I was 5 years old, I think.
Damn.
Aside from missing baseball, so yeah, it was just cool. And to answer your question, in minor leagues, man, it's a grind. I think it's not for the faint-hearted at all. I was lucky enough to where the Blue Jays, we've had some good teams. I've played with Vladdy and Bo all at all levels. So we've always had good teams, and we've always been able to, kind of that aspect of it where we're winning our league, or, all of us are having success. So it's fun, but there are a lot of hard days. It's tough traveling all the time and bus trips and eating what you can get. And, I think the main thing is just like I said earlier, man, if you take it a day at a time and just try to do the best you can each day, I mean, like the seasons fly by when thinking about it now, but in those days it's so hard, you just got to stay in it. That's the main thing that they tell us, to just stay in it. It's 140 games in 6 months, so it's tough. So it's rough.
I can't remember where I heard it, but someone said the days seem long, but the years fly by.
Yeah, they fly by, man. It's crazy.
Any part of you want to just serve Tebow up a nice, juicy fastball?
Yeah. So the first time I'd played him, we played him in the Florida State League, which was high A, and he was with the Mets. That was his like first team that he was with. And Pete was actually on that team as well. And another former Gator, Jonathan Magliozzi, was on that team as well. So yeah, we all like kind of met up before the game, and he came out because I had met Tebow previously when I was younger, just at like football events or whatever. But that was my first time officially, like meeting him and telling him who I was, and it was cool, man. And he kind of made that joke. He's like, "All right, well, just give me one, please, just give me one." And that was it. So it's cool. It's cool though, man. It's just it's like a full circle moment there at that time.
You said, "Psych!" Back to the dugout, Timmy.
Yeah.
Back to the dugout, Timmy.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, one pitch at a time. Got him up out of there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kirby, I want to ask you a question. I only played baseball for a few years when I was very young.
T-ball.
No, I played a little coach pitch too. Played a little coach pitch. But no, I want to ask you, and this is a dumb question, I know that, but obviously you have a tool belt of pitches. What's your favorite pitch to throw, and what's the hardest pitch to throw?
Well, it's kind of both. My changeup. So Nick would tell you that, in college I was fastball slider. Mm-hmm. And I've always grown up, even in high school and when I first started pitching, I've always had a really good changeup. But when I got to Florida, I was pretty much a lefty specialist. So I kind of just stopped using it. And, when I got back into pro ball, I had to basically relearn it and reteach myself, how to throw it and when to throw it to batters, and kind of just figure out a formula for how to use it more. And this last season, I used it a little bit, but this last season when I got down to spring training, I met with the pitching coaches and they were like, "Hey, this pitch is very good for you. You need to start using it a little more." And
how long do you throw it to lefties and righties, or is that just to
righties?
Righties?
So that was the main thing that I learned this year, was throwing it to lefties too. And that's pretty much why I had such a good success this year. I threw it more. I was able to, the main thing about pitching, and even like it's no different from the big leagues to, ninth grade. You just got to somehow find a formula to keep the hitters off balance. And I think that the changeup was one of the tools that I really, really used a lot to keep the hitters off balance, because they know me as a fastball slider guy. Mm-hmm. So if I can drop that changeup in there and any count, then that's where I really found success this season, and I started to get in a groove. And I would say, it's the aspect of it being hard is just I haven't thrown it. Like my slider and fastball, it's like second nature, but my changeup is it's slowly becoming like those other two pitches. But I would say my changeup for sure.
Kirby, I want to ask you a follow up. I know the answer to this, but this is for the fans that are listening. What would be the difference of you being able to throw a changeup really well to like a right-handed batter versus like a left-handed batter? What's the difference in arm rotation or whatever?
Yeah, so for me, I have that low lefty slot. So, for left-handed batters, it's really just about throwing it right down the middle of the plate, because where I release it, it's pretty much like I'm throwing it at their head. But if I can just throw it right down the middle, pretty much, with the way my fastball and slider move, it kind of just, like I said earlier, it just keeps them off balance. Whereas righties, I really have to focus on where I'm throwing it, because, if it doesn't move, they'll crush it. So that's the main thing. I think it's the difference of, And like I was saying earlier, like the mental side of the game, it's just that little tick of like, okay, I need to just reach out a little more, or I need to get on top. And I'd say the changeup. I think the changeup has really also helped me with my mechanics as well, because I've really had to like get in tune with my body to learn how to throw it again. Whereas I was saying the fastball and slider are just like second nature, pretty much. So,
do you have any pet peeves with batters? There's anything particular thing that batters do that get under your skin?
I think the normal one is when they take too long in the box to get in, or there's a lot of guys too that, if they don't have success off you, they'll try to bunt or squeeze or, do things like that. But the number one pet peeve of all time is when you make a good pitch and they still get a hit. So that's the worst. When you do exactly what you have to do and then they still get a hit, or that, they bloop one over third base for a hit or first base for a hit. I think that's probably the most frustrating part of pitching.
Those seeing eye singles that
Yeah.
you bury a slider and just like a little flick and just over the shortstop's head.
Yeah.
I wanted to run through taking you back to your teams. Just quick one person answer. Have like 6 or 7 things here.
Okay.
Who was the best hitter on the Gators when you were there?
Pete Alonso.
Who was the best pitcher?
Kirby Snead.
In college, I would say definitely Logan Shore. He had the most success. That's more than one word, but yeah.
Who's the guy that didn't get enough credit on the team?
Dane Dunning.
Say Dane Dunning. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What was the story there? Because Dane was pitching on weekdays, and I think Sully told me that Dane came to him. He was like a weekday starter, and Dane came to him, and he was like, "Hey, I'll come out of the bullpen on the weekends. I just want to help out in SEC play."
Yeah, that's Dane to a T. Just a great guy. Almost too nice to where it annoys you. So he just wanted to help any way he could. And if you ask any hitter from those teams that I was on in fall scrimmages or early spring scrimmages, the one pitcher that they did not want to face was Dane Dunning. And he it's crazy. He was a reliever and went 20th overall. So that just tells you the stuff that he had. He was one of the guys that I was rooting for in pro ball, man, because he really deserved it. And he really, I'll put his stuff up with anybody. His stuff's a little down right now, but I mean, he could be in Cy Young contention, no doubt in my mind. So
high praise.
Yeah.
You're on the road. Who is the first person that you want to be roomed with, and who's the last person you want to be roomed with?
Definitely AJ Puck. That's like my best buddy. But the last one, I don't know.
If you see the room assignments, you're like, wow, they did me dirty.
Man, I gotta think about that one.
Okay.
Who you want the bus? Yeah, who you want on the bus here, Kirby?
Our group really got along, man. Like I can't really name anybody that I didn't really like. I'm being
Who's
honest.
dirty? Who's dirty? Who's leaving crumbs on the floor?
Pete was dirty for sure, but yeah, I mean, me and him are best friends, so I couldn't really knock on him.
I don't know about that now.
You put up with Pete. You put up with Pete's mess in
the yeah.
Who was the funniest on that team?
Ooh, probably Buddy Reed.
Shout out to Buddy Reed, man.
Yeah,
Buddy Love.
Yeah, Buddy always kept us going.
It might be the same answer, but my last one was, who is the best overall athlete? Like if you had to play a different, like if you just say, hey, you got to play a different sport, this is him.
Buddy or Bader for sure.
Yeah,
those two guys. Buddy,
Kirby,
Buddy could have played college ball. He could have played college soccer. He was, he played hockey in high school and got a hockey scholarship.
If he can play college soccer, he's damn sure an athlete because them guys are athletic.
Yeah, but he said hockey too, so we know that he's creme de la creme.
He can skate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no one's perfect, Dan. Everyone makes mistakes.
Kirby, I know that you said that I'm changing the subject here. Sorry. I know that you said that you like being a relief pitcher because of the pressure and everything else. Obviously, that's a role that you grew into. I would imagine that you were, a starting pitcher for a lot of your, middle school and high school and moving on. But do a lot of what's the relationship like between maybe a former starting pitcher moving into like a relief role in college and, kind of the mental piece of moving in from that, hey, you're going to pitch 6 or 7 innings to, maybe you're only being brought in for, one batter or 1 inning.
And that's something a lot of these pitchers, because like everyone that comes to Florida is like that dude on their high school team, have never had to come out of the bullpen. And then you show up and you're like, oh, all these other guys who have been here 2 years are also dudes. And I'm going to Like if I want to pitch this year, I have to learn how to come out of the bullpen.
Yeah, and I can even assess from just personal experience. When I came into Florida, I was a starter all in high school and travel ball and stuff. And I knew I was going to be a reliever, but I had never done it. So my freshman fall, I was throwing 1 to 2 innings, and I struggled a little bit making that little transition. But yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is just a lot of starters like coming to be a reliever because they can kind of let it eat in a sense. As a starter, you kind of have to get a feel of the game and kind of pace yourself. And obviously you want to attack hitters and you want to pitch good, but I think it's just a different mentality. I think it's a different, relievers, like you just got to come in and be aggressive and throw strikes. Whereas, a starter, obviously you want to do the same, but it's just that little mental aspect of, you're only going to be out there for a short time compared to you're trying to go as long as you can. So
time to kind of like feel the game as a starter, and you might feeling the game as a reliever might be, hey, there's one out guy on second and third, and the number 3 batter's up. So
yeah, and that's
pretty quick.
I mean, being a reliever, you get a lot more like adrenaline. Like you're only going, like for example, when I would come in, it'd be like, hey, you're getting these 2 lefties and then you're getting out. So it's like I have to get these 2 guys, or else I'm never going to pitch again. It's just like I have to get these guys. So I think it's I think that's another part of it as well.
Well, perfect. Well, Kirby, we'll let you run, but hey, man, best of luck. No, Major League Baseball is negotiating right now, so hopefully we can get you back on the diamond here soon. And
yeah,
man, it was an absolute
pleasure. I got one last question. One last question, Kirby. What's I know you're still chasing the dream a little bit. I don't think you're done dreaming, right? You're still passionate. You got a lot of ambition. So, what's the end all? What's your dream scenario, man?
Yeah, my dream is just to play as long as I can, into hopefully my late 30s. I'm 27 now, so got a little time left, obviously, but I don't really know from there. I just it kind of sounds so silly to say it a lot, but I just try to take it a day at a time. I'm not really worried about what's going to happen from 10 years from now. My only worry is hopefully we can get back soon, and I can just it's going to be a big year for the Blue Jays. So I'm just hoping that we can get back and I can contribute to a good team there. But if I had to answer your question, I would say that I definitely want to get into coaching one day. I just I think as I grew older, I just realized how much time that it takes, just for people that have helped me along the way. My parents, my dad has coached me. He never played baseball, so he didn't know. So he was learning as I was going. So I think that kind of helped my situation a little bit. But yeah, I think I just want to get into coaching and just try to help as many kids as I can. And I've been giving lessons a little bit here and there in the Gainesville area. So I think, just sharing experiences, man. I like talking to people. I like sharing experiences and stories. And, I like getting perspective from everyone, because all of us are different. All of us are different, So I think that's the main thing about baseball too, is that, like, we have guys from the Dominican, we have guys from, Mexico, we have guys from overseas. I mean, it's just like, it's a good mesh of people. And I think that, that's part of being on a team is, experiencing that.
Well, we hope you're not coaching for a good long while.
Yeah.
And
appreciate it.
Enjoy the Canadian summer.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon.
Hey man, have you ran into Drake yet? What's up?
No. He's so from what I've heard, he's not a big baseball fan, so he doesn't really.
What? When y'all start winning, he's gonna be one.
Yeah,
start winning, bro.
We gotta win.
Wait till the ALCS. Drake will be sitting right there front row.
Kirby, did you guys, and I might get my years mixed up, were you guys playing in Toronto last year, or were you guys in Buffalo?
Yeah, so we were in Buffalo until mid-July.
Okay.
And then we got, like, right when I got called up is when we were going back to Toronto. So I actually never
that's
played
beautiful,
it.
man.
I
Toronto
never played
compared to
Buffalo.
Woo.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. So
I've slandered Jacksonville enough on this show. I'm not going to throw Buffalo under the bus, but stay tuned to next episode, and I'll slander Buffalo all up and down.
It's safer. It's definitely safer to slander Buffalo than.
I love it. Well, Kirby, are you pretty active on social media, or where can people follow you?
Yeah, I don't have one tweet. He's not active at all.
No, I have Twitter just to keep
you
up.
Don't have one tweet.
I don't tweet, but
hey, follow me back, fam.
I will. But I do have Instagram. I use a good bit, and it's just Kirby Snead. So
perfect. I love it, man. Well, thanks so much for joining us this
Appreciate
evening. Best of luck, man.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one.
Appreciate you, Kirby.
You too.
I should have checked the Twitter feed before I asked the question.
Not heavy on Twitter, more of an Instagram guy. They weren't allowed to have social media when they were at Florida. Sully put the social media.
He ruled with an iron fist, eh?
Social media banned, so all the guys had accounts that were private.
Those what are they called? Finstas? Those fake Instagrams?
No, it was pictures of them in their uniform with their names, just private.
Oh, they just limited who could follow. I get it.
Yeah, I think they were allowed to have it in like the fall, but like when the season came, they were supposed to shut it down. So they were just private. Probably wouldn't accept Kevin O'Sullivan's friend requests on Instagram or Twitter, and keeping it moving.
Kevin O'Sullivan logs in as Gator fan 0604, and all of a sudden, well, before we move on to a bunch of other things that are happening in Gator Nation, want to give a shout out
his hair, bro. I shot my man to follow on IG. He cut his hair off,
bro. His hair. So he had short hair. He had his hair in a bun. I saw him Friday. He's got crazy long hair. Like probably hasn't cut it in 3 years.
Oh, okay.
That's another thing. Kevin O'Sullivan won't let you have long hair. No facial hair, no long hair. He's a Yankee guy. He's a Yankee fan. Kind of runs things that way. So you see like AJ Puck, if you look him up, he had long hair when he left Florida. Kirby's hair like covers his name on his jersey now. Still there. Getting a little hair envy on the pod.
Jealous.
Oh, no, man. I like the flow. I ain't hating. I'm working on my hated ways after last week, Nick. And shout out to y'all boys for throwing me under the bus, bro.
Yeah, man. I wasn't going to dive under the bus with you.
On the watch back, I was like, look at these guys, man. They had like they never called Mike White buns.
I never have. I
certainly have.
He would beat Auburn. I predicted he would beat Auburn. So he's a great guy. Also predicted they'd probably lose to Texas A&M.
That was like totally different, bro.
Y'all right.
Yeah, I got stage fright. I saw her in the green room, like, got to keep the slander to a minminimum.
And here I am just getting my greatest Blanco takes off.
That's the thing. So if you're listening, the program we used to record, only Dan can see when guests come on. So Silk is just Silk. I can't see it.
We have no idea, bro.
We have no idea.
I thought you guys all had access to it.
We have no idea when they show up. So Silk is he thinks it's like a free-range chicken. He's free-range slandering Mike White. Little does he know, the woman he shares a training facility with is sitting there listening to the whole thing.
That was awkward for a second. I was like,
that's my apologies. I thought you guys all saw her in there. I just assumed that Silk was going to go regardless.
And then she's here.
I know it's set up when I see one, Nick.
She was sitting there for like 5 minutes, actually. She heard the entire conversation about storming the court and everything. But I thought you guys knew that. That's on me.
I bet you she agrees with me now, though.
I bet you she does. Well, let's chat a little bit about her, but before we do, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Home Field Apparel. Use promo code Stadium and Gale, all one word. Get 15% off. They're dropping a whole bunch of new stuff, basketball stuff, all sorts of new apparel, dropping a lot of new colleges each and every Saturday at noon. So visit them, homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale and get 15% off of your order. So speaking of which, Kelly Ray Finley, who joined us last week, women's interim basketball coach, is now interim no more. It was announced today that she will be the new women's basketball coach. So congratulations to her.
That might have saved us in future interviews, because the girls, the ladies, women were coming off a loss. She comes on the show. They catch 2 more L's. I'm thinking, yep, we're done. Kelly Ray's blaming us. There's no way she's ever going to be back on Stadium and Gale, but we told her, you don't have to say it. We'll say it for you. Remove that interim tag, and congratulations to her.
Yeah, signs a 5-year deal. So congratulations to her. They do end the season with 2 losses to end, or 3 straight losses, 2 after our episode. They were number 15 in the polls. I do not think that they will be there anymore. They will be a 5th seed, and they will be playing either Vanderbilt or Texas A&M in the first game of the SEC tournament, or their first game of the SEC tournament. But she does come on, get some success. Jenny Rowland comes on the show. They rattle off a couple big victories. Colby Halter comes on the show. He rattles off an SEC co-player of the week. Kelly Ray Finley comes on, and we line our pockets with some big bread. So I'm not saying that we're the cause, but I'm not saying we're not the cause.
Mike White might have a Final Four run in him if he comes on Stadium and Gale.
Mike White has a standing invitation to join the show for about 3 years,
bro. Paul.
He actually paused. Look at him. It's frozen. He actually paused.
Silk is completely frozen, but no, congratulations to her. Hopefully they're able to bounce out of this little rut that they're in. But certainly, no matter how the season ends, certainly better than I think anybody in the entire world could have predicted.
Yeah, I mean, with everything that went on in the off season, her getting named an intro, and then you lose your best player to an injury, and then she transfers like 4 days after they say that she's out for the year with an injury. The kind of run that they went on, and obviously didn't end the year the way they wanted to, but the kind of run they went on, I don't think anyone outside of their locker room would have predicted the kind of season they had.
How old is she? Is she
36.
36. Is she the youngest women's basketball coach ever in Florida? Do we have any history there?
I don't know. She's the 11th.
Really
the 11th total. I didn't go through in my preparation for Kirby Snead. I did not go through and look at all 11 coaches. She was younger than Cam. I know that. How young was Billy when Billy took over? He was really young.
Billy Donovan, I think, was in his early 30s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Billy was
Let's
young.
see. Billy was born in 65 and took over in 96, so he's 31.
That's wild.
Assuming that he had his birthday. No, I can't imagine. I think of, myself at 34. Billy Donovan at 31, leading Sean McVay at 36, winning a Super Bowl, turning down $100 million from Amazon to stay with the Rams. Shout out to Kelly Ray. She's got a big, long career ahead of her.
Big ups.
Big ups to Kelly Ray. Nick, Gators do rattle off a 5-0 a week in baseball, and they're headed to another 5-game week. But the Gators down, the Stetson on Tuesday. Was it Jacksonville Wednesday?
Yep.
And then Georgia State Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Seemingly clicked after kind of a rocky start to the season against Liberty last weekend. Talk to us a little bit about baseball and how it went. Besides,
really good week for baseball. Got a lot of the younger pitchers in. A lot of the younger hitters got some time as well. Obviously, Colby Halter, friend of the show, co-SEC player of the week. He went 12 for 22. That's a 5.45 average. Slugged 10.45. That's fantastic. On base percentage of 583. Scored 9 runs, drove in 6, and had 3 home runs, including a leadoff home run. I believe that was Saturday. Again, if that's wrong, it's been a lot of games. On the year, he's hitting 429. Team high, 27 total bases. He's killing the ball. Sterling Thompson continues to kill the ball. And BT Ryapel, transfer catcher, is actually leading the team in batting. So the team looked really good. And that loss to Liberty has been tremendous. The only loss they have on the year is that Friday night to Hunter Barco when he threw a gem. So that Liberty loss at the end of the year, Liberty got ranked number 20th this week. So that might not be a bad series loss when it's all said and done. Definitely a big week this week. So it's interesting. They'll go on the road, play at UNF. You should win that game. Host FAMU on Wednesday. You should win that game. And then the Miami series is interesting because it's early on in the year. it's not a conference game. So fans, I've learned this. Fans really tune in this weekend and then the 3 Tuesdays that they play FSU. The casual fan, and they tune in because it's Miami. But like Florida and Kevin O'Sullivan isn't super concerned about this series because at the end of the day, it's an out-of-conference series. Is this as Liberty when it comes to standings? And at the end of the day, the goal is to win the SEC, and losing, 2 out of 3 to Miami has no effect on you winning the SEC. So I definitely, especially last year when they lost the series to Miami to open the new ballpark, people were pissed off. But it's so early in the season, these teams are going to look vastly different by the time June comes around and regionals comes around.
I mean, you still want to win, right? Like,
yes, it's a rivalry. It's a rivalry.
You can't even set
game.
that tone of these games don't matter because, like, that's not like the winning attitude or the attitude you have. Winning teams just want to win; they don't give a shit.
Yes, yeah, they want to beat FAMU as bad as they want to beat Miami.
Right.
But it's a really, really heated rivalry. The Canes fans, because all the success they had in the 80s and 90s, winning multiple College World Series, they have a passionate baseball fan base who it's like being at like a European soccer match, the way that they talk the entire game. I've been at some games where Pete Alonso shut them up in the first inning, and they were pretty quiet and left early on Friday night. But if the game is close or they're up, they are loud.
Miami fans show up pretty heavy for this game because I hear a lot of excuses during football season. They can't show up because there's all these things to do in Miami. So
they show up. They it'll be a packed house, sold out. It'll be sold out. They'll probably announce it sometime. It's a smaller stadium.
Same number of fans.
I think they,
right.
Yeah, the exact same number of fans that show up to football games show up to baseball. Just a significantly smaller stadium.
Well, Silk, you're going to show up?
Yeah, I'm showing up. It's Thursday or Friday. I'm definitely pulling up.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You said I can't come Saturday. Sunday. Yeah. I'm be out of town.
Friday night.
I'll be in Jacksonville Saturday. Shout out to Jacksonville, and I got to come back to Orlando.
Shout out to Jacksonville.
Damn, always shouting out Jacks.
So what? It's a Friday night game and then Saturday day game or night game?
Friday at 7, Saturday at 7, and Sunday at noon or 1. I have it written down right here. Sunday is noon, and the games will be on ACC Network Extra. Don't know who carries that. ACC
That'll be
Network
in the 800s
Extra
on Dish Network, I'm sure.
Definitely not adding that on.
Yeah, ACC Network Extra on Friday, Saturday, and on the regular ACC Network on Sunday. And I think if you have like an ESPN subscription, you can like stream ACC Network. I don't know if they have like an actual channel.
All right, well, we'll be on the lookout for that and look forward to hopefully another 5-0 week. Big week for the Gators. Speaking of big week for the Gators, do want to give a quick shout out to the women's gymnastics program. Mentioned that they were able to rattle off a big victory this weekend, but number 3 Gators competed against the number 2 Oklahoma Sooners, who I know have won some national championships recently. But the Gators hosted the meet, and they ended up winning in pretty decisive fashion. They came out to a pretty hot start. Ended up winning a big game on senior night. The Gators recognized a lot of seniors and super seniors to their team. Shout out to Trinity Thomas, who again scored a perfect 10. It was her 3rd of the season. So shout out to her. Just another big victory. This team looks poised to really make a deep run in the national championship tournament that's coming up in the not too distant future.
I believe Trinity's overall score from last weekend against Oklahoma was the highest overall score this season across the nation as well.
Yeah, I'll be on the lookout. I'm reading the notes here. So it's her 13th 10 that she's gotten in her Gator career, 6 on the floor, 3 on beams, 3 bars and beam, and then 1 on vault.
She got a 10 on all four skills, all 4 apparatus.
Yeah, apparati.
Same thing.
Apparatuses. Yeah.
Apparati.
Yeah. She has 94 career wins, which is the second all time and just 1 away from Bridget Sloan's program record. her 21st all-around win. Moves her into a tie for number 4 with Kitra Hunter for Florida's career chart. 3 collegiate bets, Sloan Blakely, 9,925 on vault. She got her all-around best on bars and all-around as well. Megan Skaggs, and then, of course, Trinity Thomas with a 10. And then shout out to Gator fans. They set another record for women's gymnastics, 9,685 folks were there. So just an incredible performance by the Gators women's gymnastics this year, and certainly wish the best to them. And then shout out to Alyssa Bauman, Megan Skaggs, who are super seniors. Joined seniors Leah Clapper, Sydney Johnson, Scharf, Nia Reed, Savannah Schoner, Haley Taylor, and Trinity Thomas, who all celebrated their final career match at the O'Connell Center. So congratulations to them, and they are going to hopefully chase another national championship. In other news, a lot of success in men's track and field this weekend as well. Let me just pull that up. Want to make sure that we're giving them their necessary shout outs. We haven't really talked a ton about the women, or pardon me, the men's track and field team this season. But as I pull up this article, the Gators took home second in both men's and women's track and field in the SEC indoor championship. So congratulations to both teams there, and certainly wish them luck on their upcoming outdoor season. Jasmine Moore was able to take home a gold with Natricia Hooper, who came in second in the triple jump. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to both men and women's track and field. And certainly softball is still kicking butts all and down the diamond as well. So that'll wrap up a bit of the Gators
game against UCF on Sunday night. I think they went to 16-0. Is that right, Dan?
Yeah, 16-0 on the season. Just rocking and rolling again this season. Their wins this weekend. Let me just pull that up. I was trying to pull it up while Nick was talking. Yeah. So a couple of wins over UNF last Tuesday and Wednesday. They got into a tournament against DePaul, big victory against Oakland, against James Madison. And then, like you said, Nick, a 12-11 victory over UCF to end the UCF Knights Classic. So always good to beat them at their home diamond. They will play Southern Miss on Wednesday, and then they head to the Bubbly Invitational this weekend in Gainesville, where they'll play Georgia State, Coastal Carolina, Tennessee State, and then Coastal Carolina and Georgia State again before entering SEC play with a couple of non-conference games sprinkled in there as well.
You didn't even label it Gator News of the Week.
I didn't. We rolled right into it, and again, kind of shooting off. Yeah, just trying to shooting off the cuff here. Again, didn't plan it out. No bullet points this week. I'll work on it for next week.
No, smooth, man.
I appreciate that.
No,
right in there.
Nick's the hater this week.
Nick is the hater this week.
What do you think? What do you think if? Because I'm going back to Kirby. I'm scrolling through our Twitter, and we're firing an intern, making fun of my pronunciations. I don't know who that was, but an intern will be losing their job tonight. Would you serve Tim Tebow like a nice fastball? You're like, hey, listen, Tim might need a home run, might need a double. Maybe I need to give him a little gift. Would you give Tim a gift, or would you strike him out?
What would Tim do?
I don't know.
Tim would strike me out, so I'm going to strike Tim out.
Would strike me out.
I think if you're a starting pitcher, it's a little bit different than Kirby Snead's situation where you're a relief pitcher because your responsibility is to get those 1, 2, 3 outs. If you're a starting pitcher, yeah, I would go for the strikeout. But, the team's up 10-0. We're in the 6th inning. I'm not swap one out there.
Yeah, no, I got to strike his ass out.
And maybe that's why I'm not competitive enough. I never made the Major League Baseball.
Okay. I'd strike his
Nick,
ass
what
out
would
too.
you do?
Strike him out. See ya, Timmy. Back to the booth.
I can see Nick lofting up like a 65-mile-an-hour fastball.
No, I'd say, hey, tell Laura and Marcus I said hello when you're on set next time, but you're going back to the dugout, Timmy.
That was a wild time, Tim Tebow playing baseball. All right, let's get into some football news. A lot of things happening, but before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Game Time Sidekicks. Got a compliment to one of the cups that I had earlier today when I was at work. So congratulations to Game Time Sidekicks. Great products. Visit them, GameTimeSidekicks.com. Use promo code STADIUM. Get 10% off. 350 plus schools. So get one for yourself. Get one for your friends and family. A lot of other products out there for NFL players and Major League Baseball players, golfers. A lot of just great drinkware out there. So visit them, GameTimeSidekicks.com. Use promo code STADIUM. Get 10% off. The Gators announce, well, I don't know if they've officially announced it yet, but Russ Callaway will be joining the staff as another quality control coach. Spent time most recently with the New York Giants. Before that, was on the LSU staff as an offensive analyst, and then previously very well known at the Division II level, I believe, was Samford, where he was the offensive coordinator for 5 years. And did a fantastic job there. So Russ Callaway will be joining the staff in what I would imagine is a role that only can boggle the mind. Nick can't hear me, so.
Why can't Nick hear you?
I don't know. He's got to get some new equipment over there. But let's see. So Russ Callaway will be joining the staff. So do you want to get a little bit into the visits for this upcoming weekend from a recruiting perspective?
Whew. Got caught standing flat-footed with that one. Wait for Nick to get back, the 0-3 guy. I'm pretty sure he got the list on hand.
Nick, can you hear us now?
I'm back.
All right, very good. We're just talking a little bit about the visitor list for this weekend.
Okay, pull that up for you. I mean, all of March is really going to be packed.
It's loaded. Mm-hmm. All these kids are on tour, so don't get like we're doing anything extra special. I do like the birthday card battle.
Oh, are we doing birthday gate now?
Yeah, let's do birthday card.
Yeah, let's do birthday gate. That was fun time. Shout out to Florida State, who definitely came in last.
I think Dan had the joke of the day on Twitter.com. Mike Norvell spent all summer in the studio mixing beats, producing songs.
Right.
Forgot to cut out the go for his happy birthday to Money.
So set the stage a little bit for those that maybe didn't see it. I think this happened on, was it Saturday?
Yeah, it happened on Saturday. So during the week, defensive back McLean.
Yeah, Cormani Mclean.
Cormani Mclean. Money McLean. Shout out to Money McLean. Happy birthday, my dude. It was his birthday. So Miami whole staff they all sent a card, some handwritten card. People on Twitter was in the social media and the message boards the Miami fans were really hyped about them sending cards. So the recruiting team start getting into their things where they battle it or they try to outdo each other. And the Florida staff sent a nice edited video that was kind of like a TikTok video, but it kind of went through the staff, different people. Gervon Dexter kicked it off. It was pretty dope. Then Florida State, I guess, woke up that morning went and bought a cake. I don't know who ate the cake. I don't know why they brought a cake for the video. The kid can't jump through the screen to eat the cake. So it was like from go when they started drawing up the plans, it was already doomed. If everybody that's listening to the show, if you can, just stop what you're doing and give some prayers up for Rat. It looked like he was held hostage in that video.
Oh, and they're throwing him front and center for everything too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Thoughts and prayers to Rat.
Yeah, prayers are Rat. But pretty much, yeah, everybody's just getting. I mean, he's the best player in the country in my eyes. I think he's up there, definitely the best defensive back. So everybody's pulling out all stops and trying to impress this kid.
Yeah, no, I think the funniest thing for me was, Florida obviously put a lot of effort behind making the video. And I'm not just saying that as a homer. I'm just saying that as if you watch the video as a completely unbiased person, you can say, hey, this group of people planned a video. They knew what they were doing. They probably got, I don't know, 3 or 4 players, a number of support staff on there as well. And then you see FSU kind of huddled around in what looked to be a warehouse. You have a bunch of people that don't really know why they're there. You have some people on the side that definitely aren't singing happy birthday. You have the unedited video of them saying go to start the video, which you can easily change on an iPhone in, I don't know, 4 seconds.
It was definitely recorded on an iPhone that has a home button.
But you can tell
on an iPhone that has a tactile button still on it.
You can tell they were like on probably some sort of scissor lift or some sort of balcony, trying to get as far away as they could to film this video.
I think we all were trying to get as far away from the video as we could.
But that, man, I mean, just what an atrocious effort. That's one of those videos that you shot with the Twitter video function, and you just posted it immediately. You didn't edit it. You didn't look at it. You just said, "Hey, that's good enough."
I don't miss having the goofiest coach in the state. I tell you that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But my joke came about, when they did the announcement of FSU's schedule a few weeks ago or a month ago, whatever it was. They had a video of Mike Norvell in a recording studio, which I don't totally get. Because the idea of Mike Norvell mixing tapes, I guess back in his cornrow days, maybe it would have been a little stronger. Anyway, sitting behind the mixing board, and then just a few short weeks later, they're releasing a video, and they don't even know how to edit it right. Maybe that's why Mike Norvell's career as a music producer just didn't last very long.
Cornrows went out of style.
But shout out to Cormani Mclean.
Them cornrows look crazy. Like he just came back from Bahamas, man.
It does. It does look like he was on a cruise.
Yeah. What you didn't see in that picture was like the little, black, green, and yellow beads that were on the back.
Yeah, for sure. He definitely got them at a resort.
He was at Sandals, Jamaica. Mike had just returned.
Yeah, he was with Michael Scott, right?
Nice cup of conch.
Cormani Mclean is the number 4 player on the On3 overall rating. So congratulations to him. Happy birthday. You'll certainly be seeing a lot of him, and that's definitely a UM-Florida battle. FSU's trying to get involved as well. Sam McCall from his high school signed with Florida State, but definitely going to be a good battle for, like Silk said, the number 1.
Yeah, Florida State ain't in this. Miami's in it. I think it's us and Miami, I think, at the top right now.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been on campus with us yet. We got that visit on the horizon. He's doing a few days. He's going to be on campus.
I love to hear it.
Right, Nick? I'm going to lie.
Yeah.
Let me lie on y'all website.
He's coming.
Shout out to Corey Bender, man. Yeah, me and Corey was in the DMs. I think he's coming like several days. Corey told me.
Yeah, Corey. So number 1, Cormani Mclean coming March 19th through 20th. Florida will be. He'll be here to see spring practice. Spring practice starts the 15th, so he'll be there. What is March? March 19th is what? That's Friday. So then Florida practice is Saturday. So the 20th, he'll probably get to see practice, and that's always something you want.
No, the 19th is a Saturday.
19th is a Saturday. Their first practice is on the 15th.
15th. So they're practicing Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays all spring. So he'll see that Saturday practice for sure. And then Sunday, maybe you get him in and you watch the film breakdown, because that's how spring practice works. You practice one day, the next day you're going over everything, and then you're back on the practice field the following day. So almost giving him an experience of what it would be like if he were a player. Like, hey, you're not going to be practicing, but this is going to be your schedule if you decide to come here. Spring, we're practicing, and then we're going to get you in the meeting rooms, and you're going to sit in there with Corey Raymond. And
they got a box first, according to the video.
Listen, I don't know how old Corey Raymond is. My guy is still in shape.
Still in shape.
I think I think
watch goals right there, Nick.
If we get Corey Raymond on the show and you ask him your now famous question, who's got the best hands on the team, he might just say me.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Raymond might say Corey Raymond has the best hands on the team. And it's
going to take some mountain moving from us to get Corey Raymond on the show. We keep getting our hands slapped, but we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep fighting for it. But let's go over the visitor list. I was able to pull it up here. Starting tomorrow, which is March 1st, the day you're listening to this, the Gators are going to host 3 players, 4-star defensive lineman Gavin Hill, 3-star wide receiver Eugene Wilson III, and then safety Cameron Upshaw. I don't believe Cameron Upshaw has a rating from Gadsden County. So a guy that has a pretty impressive offer list already, South Carolina, Penn State, Mississippi State, Michigan State, Arkansas, Iowa, a lot of big names on here already. So the Gators are going to host those 3 on March 1st. And then on March 3rd, that Thursday, the Gators are going to host defensive tackle Jordan Hall, 4-star cornerback Sharif Denson, 4-star running back Trayon Webb, 3-star safety Kenton Kirkland, 3-star O-line Janoris Wilson, and then 2024 safety Brayshawn Williams.
I think you nailed that name, Dan. I was worried about your pronunciation. I'm the pronunciation guy now.
Yeah, Dunedin.
You got some nerve.
But Janoris spelled Gernoris.
Yeah, a little bit different. Had to put my syllables together for that one.
I think Trayon Webb is probably the one there that for that March 3rd day, the one that I would circle.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, running back, we're starting to break down over on Gators Online on 3. We're starting to break down position battles, and I'm doing a little series of guys I'm excited to see. And 2 of the 10 that I'm doing were DeMarcus Bowman.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. I realized that I've been spelling DeMarcus Bowman's first name wrong for a year.
Were you forgetting the K?
Put the C before the K. Demarcus.
You think about another word.
Listen, bro, I'm a professional writer, and I spelled. Thank God he only got 15 carries last year. Shout out Dan Mullen. Shout out to
incompetence. The
interim god. If they would have given him more opportunities, I would look like a big idiot. So talked about him. Talked about Montrell. But if you look, I mean, like, I wouldn't be surprised if a running back transferred after the spring. I don't think it'll be Montrell. I don't think it'll be DeMarcus. No, but I'm saying I think
not on a limb here, Sil.
No, I'm saying you're going to need a running back, and I think a guy like Trayon Webb in the class, that might be my number one take. Who else were we talking about? We were talking about someone the other week. Still, another running back.
Yeah, there's a lot of running backs.
Baxter.
Yeah,
Baxter.
Yeah, I believe you said last week that Cedric Baxter was the guy that you wanted. But
either side of the fence, I'm going to play them both.
I think right now, I mean, he's probably. I mean, and everybody in mind, Richard Young is probably Richard Young and Cedric Baxter, but we're not trending for Richard Young right now. So the board right now, in my mind, 1 and 2 would probably be Baxter, and then
Trayon
Webb.
Trayon Webb, if you're unfamiliar, from the beautiful city of Jacksonville, plays at Trinity Christian Academy, 5'11", 188, ranked 4 stars on the On3 consensus, only 3 stars on 3 in their ratings. Kind of strange. I mean, I think that this will kind of even out. The On3 consensus has him as the number 6 running back in the country. On3 ranks him as the 30th running back in the country. But I do think that will change. Super talented running back. I think that, whoever gets him is certainly get a player that is going to contribute well at the FBS level. But that's a name that I'm excited about. But I think the name that I'm most excited about, I like the name Jordan Hall a lot. I think that he's a really good defensive tackle. I think that he's going to play. I think that he's got an NFL caliber skill set. So that 4-star defensive tackle, I know that he's looking at a lot of different schools, Florida State, Georgia. But that's definitely a guy who I think is a difference maker at the collegiate level. He's ranked as the 183rd best player, 34th best player in the state of Florida. But in my opinion, that's a guy also from Jacksonville that I'm looking forward to seeing on campus and seeing how Florida is able to recruit him.
And that's full team effort there. He told Corey Bender that he talks mostly to Coach Spence and Cheney, but Napier told him right off the rip, like, everyone in this building is going to recruit you. The picture that Corey used for the story is him and Katie Turner clowning around. I think it's probably trending in the right direction for Florida right now. And then, just piggyback on everything you said there, Dan, about the kind of player he is and the kind of potential he has.
Yeah, and we'll stick with Jacksonville. There's another good player, Sharif Denson, ranked as the number 186 player. Jordan Hall, 186 player.
How many defensive backs we taking or cornerbacks we taking in this class, Nick?
So, and I want to get more into it with someone that's probably better at X's and O's than I am, but everything I've seen and people I've talked to.
I'm better at X's and O's than you. So what do you have?
Perfect.
And not tic-tac-toe.
We've got an expert.
They play, or they Tony likes to play a lot of dime. So you're going to get, like in high school, we called it a rover, that sixth defensive back. So I think, I have to pull up my scholarship chart, but there's a ton of safeties on the roster, and I don't think it's necessarily that star position, that Grantham had in his defense. Shout out to Todd Grantham, newest member of Alabama's Nick Saban's, coaching rehab clinic over there.
Beginning of the end.
So I think that might be a room where 14, 15, 16 defensive backs split between, corner and safety. I think you're going to have a lot of those just based on what Tony's defenses looked like at Louisiana and how many cornerbacks and safeties and just defensive backs in general that he has on the field at one time. And then if you start rotating guys to keep guys fresh, you need some bodies back there.
I'm watching that wide receiver recruiting. There's a lot of studs in the state. I want to see. I know there's a lot of competition as well, but it's a lot of elite players. So I want to see us land somebody early. So my eyes are still on Kerry Colbert. Watching you, fam. Out of love. No.
Yeah,
out of love.
You're in the unmarked van across the street of the house watching them.
Yeah. Just peeping out the window every now and then to see if the Amazon truck pulled up. You know what I'm saying?
Silk, you bring up wide receivers between so those are the list for March 3rd or March 1st and March 3rd, pardon me. The Gators are going to host 14 additional people on March 5th. That is UF students' first day of spring break too. So you're going to see a full, concerted effort by who's ever in town still, but definitely by the coaching staff, on these 16 guys. Of these 16 players that are coming on Saturday, you have 3 5-stars, Keon Keeley, Francis Mauga, and Samuel Mpemba. I think Silk. I tried to announce it last week.
Yeah, I tried it.
You try to announce it on the Big 3 roll up. I think we're almost there. So 3 5-stars, those 3. And then a number of 4-stars, Bo Hughley, who's committed to UGA. Keon Keeley, by the way, is that number 3 player in the country. He's an edge rusher. He's committed to Notre Dame. But Grayson Howard, John Walker, I'm not going to read the entire list here. But then on Sunday, the Gators are going to host 2 wide receivers. And that's what ultimately brought this up. Brandon Innes and Santana Fleming. I know Brandon Innes has a lot of connections down to the University of Miami, and I know that they feel confident about him. But a highly regarded guy out of Miami Gardens and American Heritage High School, probably the best school in South Florida. I was just seeing if Nick had a response. And then Santana Fleming, also from American Heritage, will make it, both 4-star guys. But Gators only have 1 commit, so you got to start seeing some names popping here pretty soon.
Yeah, and Florida's 1 commit. We just came out with their top 300, and Gates dropped out of the 300. So one commit in the class and none ranked in our top 300 yet.
It's gonna get popping. It's gonna get popping soon.
What
are you hearing? What's the difference? Because we all experience the lack of buzz. The kids not really raving about the University of Florida this time of the year in the recruiting process, especially when it came to Dan Mullen. What's the difference right now? What you hearing with these recruits when you come across them, Nick?
I'm busy right now. I'm at the park 5 days.
Oh yeah, you're doing baseball. I forgot.
I got spring going on. But just talking with Corey on a daily basis, I think it's just the relationships. And I touched on it last week. It's you have to have your position coach talking to Sean Spence needs to be talking to every defensive line commit, even if that's not his area. And then I think you're getting a lot of kids keeping bringing up Jamar Chaney. And that means that even though he's not an on-field coach, that he's putting in the work. And I think you're just seeing these guys put in the work. Like there's no, we're not in the Bahamas. We're not, jet skiing. Yeah. We're not making TikToks in some 5-star resort in Croatia. Like these people are in the office and they're putting in work to recruit and as they're getting ready for spring ball, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow or 2 weeks from today, as you're listening to it. I guess I would just say effort, Silk. Just all around effort.
Yeah, yesterday, Sunday, I had the chance to meet a few coaches in an unofficial, capacity, but got to meet Rob Sale, great guy, super nice. Got to meet Marcus Castro Walker, who's in charge of NIL for the Gators football program. Got to meet Darnell Stapleton, who's just a ball of energy, super nice guy. Got to meet Carlton Blackshear, who's a quality control offensive line guy. As well. But what I can see, from talking with them is they just seem super relatable. They seem like they can hold a conversation very well. They seem very smart. And I know that kind of seems like duh, but I think if you compare that to some of the members of the old staff, there was definitely some areas where they were lacking. And I think
relatability
is probably a big thing there. So again, I don't know how the staff is going to recruit. I don't know where they're going to end up at the end of the season in the recruiting rankings. But I will say there does seem to be a definite increase in relatability from all facets of what I can tell about the staff.
No doubt. I'm excited for March. Then the lives could fly appropriately out to March. How soon do you guys think we need to land a quarterback in this class?
It's important. I mean, we talked about it last week. Like those are the guys that become, the banner carriers, the flag carriers for your entire class. They go out and they generally stay committed unless there's a coaching change for a year, if not longer. They're the ones that start those group texts, group DMs with people, and the ones that, hey, we have a big recruiting weekend. We need you to come on campus and recruit with us. So I think you don't just take one to take one. But I think you're going to see probably the Arch Manning domino will fall. And then, then you'll get some other, the 4-star guys.
But his domino is late, right? I don't think he's deciding anytime soon. So that's why I was asking you guys, do you wait for Arch if that's your guy?
Sheesh, I don't know. And maybe it'll be a weird year, like because a lot of schools that might think they have a chance, you're not going to take a 4-star guy. Like, hey, we have a chance to get Arch, and we don't want to be disingenuous to somebody else. Like, you know what I mean? You start to develop a reputation, you start doing stuff like that with quarterbacks. I mean, that stuff happens all over the place, but the quarterback is kind of the face of your class. I don't know if you can afford to take how do you pronounce the kid from Alabama that was just offered the 4-star? Vizzini. Like you don't take him. If you take him, like you're out of the.
I like that kid. Pause.
I think
Vizzina.
I think he's good, but if he commits to Florida and you take him, and then Arch comes on a visit and is like, hey, I love this place, I want to commit. Like, oh well.
What's Vizzini's information for the listeners that may not know who we're talking about?
So Chris Vizzina, we talked about him last week. 6'3", 194, out of Briarwood Christian in Birmingham, Alabama. 4-star guy offered by Clemson, Notre Dame, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky. I'm sure the list goes, on and on from there. Ranked as the number 5 quarterback on the On3 consensus. On3 has him ranked in their personal rankings.
It's hard to tell
4.
number 5 no and wait for 1, right? It's like that's a tough position to be in. That's why I brought the question up. Like, what do you do in that situation? We seen that with Justin Fields. McElwain was put in that position.
Shoo. Felipe Franks came on a visit with Justin Fields. Was like, yo, I need to pull this trigger. Hey, that committable offer? Yeah,
Felipe
it is. Oh, cool.
I'm committing.
Hell yeah.
That night, it wasn't Fields. It was Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah. That's what it was. It was Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins.
You remember that? Because Felipe committed, and there was no bat signal. There was no gunslinger.
I give you the vibes. You give you the vibes of that day. So, we're in the group chats, and the DMs is going crazy. So, I get a DM. Somebody said, yo, Dwayne Haskins having a good ass time, bro. Like, it's some smoke that he's going to, like, we got the silent commit. So I was like, oh, shit, for real? And this was a good source. Like, I knew, like, yeah, we got the silent. I was like, okay, bet. And then, like, an hour later, you just hear Felipe just committed on the timeline, like, out of nowhere. We didn't get a back signal from the coach to confirm it. I'm pretty sure Felipe put him in a situation where what were they going to do? They only had Kyle Trask at that time, which was it's cool.
Which was more than enough.
Yeah, in hindsight, but at the time, like every fan with a brain was like, "Yo, we're struggling at the quarterback position. We can't take our chances on a 2-3 star kid out of Texas." So the staff was looking for that big profile guy. The fans were. And then it was coming down to the wire, and we had Phil. Was it Phil? It was Haskins. Haskins and Franks were pretty much the last 2 guys. And Felipe finessed his way. For sure.
Hey, shout out to Felipe because it worked. It got him. If he goes back, knowing what he knows, like if he could jump in the DeLorean, hit 80 miles an hour and go back, you think he's like, maybe I don't finesse coming to Florida?
Like he'd do it again.
Sticks with LSU.
Stick with LSU.
You think Florida fans did him greasy?
Hey, yeah, but he could have rode Joey B to a national championship.
Whoa.
Rings the same if you're the 3rd or 4th. Yeah, that's a pause.
Whoa.
That's a pause. Okay.
Oh man.
Moving on.
No. But to go back to your question, Corey, the Gators right now only have 2 quarterbacks coming in March. Now, obviously that can and probably will change. Chris Vizina has said that he does want to visit Florida in March, but he doesn't have a date scheduled yet. And then the Gators are hosting.
I like how soon he wants to visit is what I want to say.
They're all hosting Dante Moore, who's the number 4 quarterback in the On3 consensus, and the number 5 in their personal rankings from Martin Luther King High School in Detroit, Michigan. Highly ranked guy. He's been offered, and everything that you look from a prediction standpoint has him staying somewhere in the Midwest or in the Mid-Atlantic, Notre Dame, Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State. But he is visiting, and what do we say? You get him on campus, and anything can happen. But right now, the Gators only have those 2 coming to town.
Dante Moore had a scholarship offer from Coach Kaki, Jim Harbaugh, as an 8th grader. Hadn't played a snap of JV ball in high school, and had an offer. So he's a guy super talented. His mother lives in Ohio. She went to school at Ohio University. There's definitely some strong Midwest ties in the family. But when you're a 5-star quarterback, we have him rated number 4 in the country, number 1 in the state. You make a business decision and you go. I mean, I think Notre Dame's offered him, Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, Florida, ton of offers for him. So it'll be interesting. Like you said, Dan, don't follow the tweets, follow the visits.
Yep. Yeah, he's also being trained by former Michigan quarterback Devin Gardner since he was 11 years old. So obviously you can see a lot of connection from Michigan, a lot of connection back to Michigan and Notre Dame. But again, follow the visits. But, going back, like I said, with what Silk said, you want to get a quarterback, you want to get them soon. Is Devin Moore or Dante Moore, pardon me, that guy? Is it Chris Vizina? Is it him? But at some point in time, Florida has a very attractive, we talked about it last week, a very attractive quarterback, opportunity ahead of them. I still think that there's a lot of question marks about Florida, what Florida's going to do, with quarterback moving forward beyond, this offseason, right? So a guy comes in, gets an opportunity.
Not to throw any slight or shade towards Max Brown, the quarterback that they took. That's his name, right?
Yeah, Max Brown. Yeah.
No shade towards him, but I think that take was kind of the take to make this year quarterback a little bit more appeasing. No kid. With all due respect, if Nick Evers was the kid coming here, the quarterback that's coming in is gonna look at that a little different, competition wise. So I do think strategically that was an angle as well, and I do want us to go after Arch, but. I'm just letting the people know that Billy is going to be put in a pickle if one of those higher ranked kids right below Arch is interested.
Yeah, because that's the situation. It's like, okay, if you think you have a legitimate shot at landing Arch Manning in the number one quarterback in the class, but you've got he doesn't have a date set up to come visit you yet. So is it that serious? You think it's serious, but you're still talking. You're not dating yet. And then the number 4 kid or the number 5 kid in the country says, Coach, on campus, Coach, I love this place. I love your program. I want to be here. Let's do it right now. Like, what do you like? You take the commitment? Like, are you turning down the number 4 kid in the country in hopes that number 1 picks you later?
What would you do in the dating phase? Like in dating life? If you was single.
We're dating all of them.
Nick's not dating any of them. No, I mean,
I'm Jim McElwain. I'm getting fired. I'm taking the buyout.
No. Like,
of
course
think
you're dating all of them, but you got to choose between one.
I think that you've got to, it's game theory, right? You got to evaluate
one girl's giving you interest, right? One girl wants to go on dates with you. Like, it's not like you're choosing, but you're talking to 2 girls in this aspect, right? One girl wants to come see you next month. This other girl's just like, yeah, I like you, and we'll figure out a date later. So
you gotta
initial
figure
stages,
out how much you like that one.
That sounds like Dan's dating life in high school. He was the guy that had he had a girlfriend, but she was at the other high school. And
yeah.
That's the
nobody ever met her, right?
They didn't have lunch together. She's at the all girls school in Coral Springs, and I think a bird in the hand is worth
scenario.
A bird in the hand's worth 2 in the bush, 3 in the bush, whatever the saying is. If you've got the number 4 kid and you have him rated high, and you think we can win football games with him, and he wants to pull the trigger, I say,
Sully,
we take it. We take it. We have an elite quarterback in this class. And hey, Arch, sorry, we've got our quarterback for the class. And at that point, you're telling the number 1 kid, start didn't work out, timeline didn't work out with you and us, but we like this kid and we're going to go with him.
Yeah,
that's hard to say though, right?
No, it's definitely hard to say, but I think this is one of those situations where you have to evaluate how strongly do you feel about a kid. And obviously there's a leaderboard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down. But, what's the separation between number 1 and number 2, right? And just because On 3 or 247 or ESPN or whoever says that Arch Manning's number 1.
What is the board? Do we have, do you know 2, 3 guys? Do you know another guy? I think flirting with?
I have to pull. You should have asked me at 5:45 before we got on.
My bad.
Yeah, I can try to see if I can pull up Florida's offer list. But I mean,
Dan, while you do that, Silk, what would you do? I mean, you're still feeling good about number 1. What's your move? I think Dan made a great point though, and it's like, all right, well, what's the difference between? Because like there might be a gigantic gap from number 4 on your list to number 5. But if 1 and 2 are close, if 1 and 4 are close, if 1 and 3 are close, that's not a huge difference. And then I think it's easy to pull the trigger then.
Yeah. So, I think they just got, these are relationship guys. You just got to have the talent to know, like, if this kid, if you really got a shot there, like it's and I mean, I have my questions about like the competition he's playing and whatnot. But I mean, the rankings are the rankings. It's kind of the consensus that he's top dog. So it's a lot of risk. Me personally, I'm gonna take the number 5 guy. I like that kid. I take him and just go and build the rest of my class, get that momentum, because the overall class, like, he's good, but I don't think he's like gonna carry a football team by himself. You got to recruit a class. So get me a killer. Let's get in these camps, these 707, and chirp for me to get me some recruits on campus. So I would take the number 5 guy and just keep it moving.
Yeah. So the Gators right now have offered, and this is according to On3, I'm sure it's more than this, have offered 7 quarterbacks. One of them, Jackson Arnold's committed to Oklahoma. Malachi Nelson as well is committed to USC. So you take that out, you have 5 uncommitted offers. We just named Moore, who's coming in. It doesn't say he has an offer. I'm sure he does, right? But, Florida right now has offered kids from Louisiana, California, Alabama, Texas, California, Georgia, and Tennessee, right? So you're playing a risky game here where if you don't grab one early, you're not necessarily grabbing one that probably grew up a Gator fan and grew up in, familiar territory. So, I say you look at, what's the difference between 1, 2, and 3? Is Arch Manning a guy you kick another guy out of the class for? I don't know. I will never say that one way or another. But I say you go grab a good one. You grab a guy that people are familiar with that know, but ultimately somebody that can, commit earlier rather than later is going to be your best bet, just because so many people look at that quarterback position when they are committing from a skill position perspective, offensive line perspective, and then, talent attracts other talent. So you want to get it done sooner rather than later. I don't want to see Florida without a quarterback probably by the middle of the summer.
With all these receivers that's loaded, the quicker we get a quarterback, the better.
Right. And I mean, because like you said, Silk, the wide receivers that are there are going to be looking at guys that they want to play with, at the next level. And if you miss on one of these guys, all of a sudden, your top wide receiver commits are starting to visit other places that they're committed to now, and all of a sudden, the dominoes start to fall. So, I think the Florida needs to probably hone in pretty quickly on who that quarterback's going to be, just because so many things, follow that quarterback on the offensive side of the ball.
Word up.
For sure.
Well, we're going to do some things that some players that we're maybe looking forward to seeing in camp. Let's save that for next week. Do want to announce a decommitment, and let me just pull that up so I make sure that I have all the names right. DeQuavius Sorey decommitted from Georgia yesterday. He's a 2023 wide receiver out of Chipley, Florida, and he is related to current Georgia linebacker Xavier Sorey. Interesting thing there is the Gators football staff has a family member, I believe it's a cousin, if I remember correctly, Lamar Sorey, who was announced to the Gator staff back in January. He's going to be joining. There's in a personnel quality control role. So certainly something that's interesting and bears watching. A lot of people have, made the dots and said, hey, it's only a matter of time. But he needed to decommit from Georgia, and he did that this weekend. So definitely a name to look out for on the recruiting trail as well.
I like how Georgia's moving out here this offseason. I like the moves they're making. Congrats to them boys. I do. I like
some stamp of approval.
Yeah. Miami taking your coaches, and like the offensive line guy retiring, just stepping down because he's stressed out. I like it.
Made a wonky hire of Stacey Searles today.
Woo.
Billy Gonzalez just got a new job.
Oh, really?
What are you doing?
He's heading down south, joining Willie Taggart at FAU.
Oh, I had to pull up on him. He in the 5'6"
Wide receivers coach?
When you're getting hired by Willie, it's beginning of the end.
Billy Gonzalez, he is the school's new wide receivers coach. Pete Thamel.
Pray for Billy, man.
Billy worked 16 years in the SEC, 2 of those at Florida, LSU, Mississippi State. And then Pete Thamel throws in, he recruited Percy Harvin to Florida.
Oh, very good.
Where's the rest of that story, Pete?
What happened just a couple short years later, right?
Yeah.
That's nuts that your prized your announcement is somebody you recruited 15 years ago.
A lot of people got some free credit for Urban Meyer just being elite recruiting and them being around him, but I don't think whatever. What we got next?
No, I was just going to say I'm going to check out the FAU message boards to see what prospects they have told are going to be the next Percy Harvin for the last 15 years. Silk, I think that takes us to the end. We got a Manscaped ad read. Nick took your song of the week last week, so you've got that as well.
I appreciate that. It was a dedication. It wasn't even my song. And Silk said it was a wild pick for someone who had been married for 24 hours at that point.
Yeah, I thought it should have been more love in that request. I thought this is me personally.
So take us out with a Manscaped ad read.
Shout out to the great folks at manscaped.com, the best of the best when it comes to men grooming. Fellas, be sure to get that Lawnmower 4.0. Go and get that thing trimmed, man. It's springtime, baby. Get that ball deodorant. My package came in today. Not today, last week. All the goods, man. Got some shampoo. I had a couple people on Twitter ask me about the shampoo and if I could just raffle it off. I said, no, I'm going to start grooming my beard with it, you know. But I got the whole kit. Got some lip balm, some regular deodorant, not the ball deodorant, but I'll settle for both. What else did we get in that package?
You got a body spray?
Body spray.
Yeah. It's like a hydrating body spray. So
body spray.
Right, yeah. Put that in your man purse there, Nick.
My merce?
Yeah, put that in your merce. Keep that.
It's a satchel.
It's a nice name for it. Springtime, man. Keep that on deck. Keep the ball deodorant on deck. Get your man purse. That's what the Manscaped need next. We need a man purse, Manscaped. They gave us a little bag, though. You can't carry that around. Shout out to the great folks at Manscaped. Be sure to use coupon code 20SG, right? That's at checkout for 20% off and free shipping.
Indiana Jones wore a satchel. Just saying.
So
can you jump over like volcanoes and shit?
I've never tried, so I won't say that I can't. Maybe. Who knows?
I can assure you that you cannot.
I promise you can't.
So Spencer makes a good point here in the chat. Nick has prominently displayed all of his Manscaped stuff behind him on his shelving unit there in an office that's not the bathroom. So I'm just curious about where – I'm not actually curious, but it crossed my mind about where Nick's doing his manscaping.
We got put out.
I'm sorry. Sorry for giving our – yeah, I'm showering in the office. I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for giving not going to apologize for giving our sponsors some shine for the products that we get.
Is that a bottle of Bland's next to it? I can't tell.
Bland's?
Nope, I guess not. That's how small your product placement is.
Yeah, it's not. You can see Manscaped right here. I did make an effort to turn all the labels.
I just know I know what it is, but I can't see Manscaped.
You know what? I did my best. Yeah, you see Manscaped.
Yeah, a little bit. There it is. Yeah. All right. So take us out with the song. If you have no idea what we're talking about, check us out on YouTube. Look out for Facts Only with Connor Clark. He's going to be leading that. First episode is going to drop this Wednesday. They're going to dive in a lot more into recruiting as well for us. So thanks, Connor, and the gang that he has doing the Facts Only podcast. And then check out the Stadium and Gale blog as well. A lot of good content being put out there every day.
Shout out to Connor for taking care of all that too. Connor's really taking the lead in getting guys to write for the blog and taking the lead, finding a co-host and getting Facts Only going.
Yeah.
Cooking up, man. Shout out to my guy, man.
All right, Silk, song of the week, and then we'll see you next week. We got Trevor Sikkema that'll be joining us next week from Pro Football Focus to talk about the Gators draft prospects. He's been on the show 3 or 4 times now, previously with the Draft Network. But shout out to
good timing too with the combine this week.
Yep.
And we'll be covering that. And Damian Pierce, my guy, shooting up draft boards after a good Senior Bowl week.
Yeah, somebody's going to get themselves a really good running back without not a lot of miles on his feet. So,
right.
Bainbridge, stand up.
Whoa! I did a mod.
Terrible podcasting.
Silk pulling in a mod. That was my favorite. Ahmad used to play his song of the week into the microphone before.
Wait, that's how it started? You guys are playing into a microphone?
No, that's not how it started. Mod would start it that way, though.
Okay.
I'm gonna get my guy. He from Gainesville, man. Sky Lucas. Night Before Long.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys at the same corner at the same time.
Same corner, same time.
Ready.
Already. Hey, Nick, see you, man. We'll see you at Friday night.
Friday night. Hey, get you a Mark Light shake. It's not vegan. There's some milk in there.
No.
It'll give you all the calories you need for a month in one shake.
I'm being Miami-Dade Hospital if I drink milk down there, bro. I haven't had milk in like 3 years.
Silk's not making it to the 7th inning stretch. It's like three sips of the shake, 3rd inning, and we're out of here.
I gotta love myself. All right, man. Same corner, same time, man. Y'all
same
boys
corner, same time.